everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the Albany County 2025 budget session for Monday, November 25th, 2024. So I'm now going to call the Audit and Finance Committee meeting to order, and we'll start by having attendance read by the majority council.
Sure, Madam Chairwoman. Ms. Willingham.
Present.
Reedy.
Here.
Clay is excused. Camisso.
Here.
Demolowitz.
Here.
Ray Joyce. Lakakis.
Here.
Bergdorf.
Here.
And Graham.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Oh, thank you very much. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started, council.
The first item is adoption of the Albany County budget for fiscal year 2025. We're going to take this in multiple things. The first yellow item you'll note is alternate public defender. That's just correction of an error that was there previously. It had said pass without change. That was an error. So now we'll move on to assign.
Wait. Does everybody see that? Okay, no questions. Go ahead.
Next is assigned counsel, which is pass without change.
Make a motion.
Second. Okay, so I got a motion from Mr. Reedy, and I need a second from
Me.
Ms. Lakakis. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much.
And then we're going to go to the legislative department. You'll notice that the COLAs were removed for the legislators, and then the words legislative adjustment were added in for both computer equipment and social security. It's the words that are the change, not the numbers. So we'll need a motion for that.
Can you just say what page that is?
That's right.
Mr. Graham?
Just
Hold on
changing
a
the
second.
words.
Did you have a question, sir?
I just wondered what page she was on.
Okay.
The last
Did you
page
see
The
it?
last page.
of that
Okay.
Page 5 of
attachment.
Motion moved. Second.
Okay, I got a motion for Mr. Demolowitz. I need a second. I got a second from Mr. Camisso. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much. Okay.
Item 2 is appropriation of amounts contained in the 2025 Albany County budget. This is just to effectuate the changes that you just voted on in addition to all of the changes for the budget.
Motion.
Second.
Okay. I got a motion from Mr. Reedy, and I got a second from Mr. Camisso. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much.
Item 3 is amending the 2024 Coroner's Office budget for year-end adjustments.
Motion to move it.
Evening. There's two adjustments. One is for laboratory service and fees, which is, I think, $98,000. That's for Ellis Hospital morgue services and laboratory services. We're under. Last year in 2023, we spent $550. This year's budgeted, or 24 budgeted was $450. So if you add the 98 that they asked for that, it's almost the 550 from what we spent last year. So they should have stuck with the 550. And then you have 24,000 in medical services, which is our doctors, Dr. Ing and Dr. Ball and Dr. Len, who do the autopsies.
So is that the, oh, I'm sorry, Madam Chair?
Yeah, yes. I'm
So
sorry.
Is that $316,991 the total cost of medical services for the year for autopsies? The ones that are done, you said.
So there's two different fees when it comes to autopsies. One's for the hospital, the morgue, because you have to have the morgue and the employees and all the equipment.
Got it.
And then the other one is the doctors who actually physically do the autopsy and then sign the death certificate as a medical examiner.
Well, what's the total of our medical costs? Is it the?
Well, if you add up the 450, well, now it would be 548 and 404. That would be the cost of your morgue, your doctors, and your laboratory fees. Pardon me?
About $1 million.
Almost $1 million.
Yeah, it's busy. It's busy. Autopsies are based on the fact that when we have people, we don't know the cause of death. It's not always black and white for a lot of these cases. And we have to be able to determine what the cause was. Some of these people we have no idea how they died. Fentanyl's another big one. We have a lot of fentanyl deaths still, and those require an autopsy and lab services.
Well, I have a question.
Okay.
You have, now, are there insurance companies we can bill for this? Do insurance companies pay for autopsies?
No.
They don't.
Not health insurance, you mean?
Any kind of insurance?
Oh, I don't know.
Anybody ever looked into it?
Once you're dead, the health insurance company doesn't want to deal with you anymore. But there isn't anything for that. But health insurance will cover an ambulance ride and the paramedic services and the EMTs to the hospital, which is reimbursed back to the sheriff's department and the other municipalities. But
But not the
once you
autopsies.
pass away, that's your end of your,
So how many autopsies are from outside Albany County?
that I don't have in front of me, but I can tell you that you have a level 1 trauma center here in Albany. And people, I just had one today, a death that I just took in today, was life flighted from up north down to Albany Medical Center.
That's my
So,
point, you know.
yeah.
I
Oh,
mean,
you-
how much
you
of this
do.
$1 million is, you know, some guy getting killed on a north flag or something?
Well, I mean, we have them as far away as Vermont. Automobile accidents, you know, people were shot, you
Is there
know.
any way of billing back the municipalities where they come from?
Well, that would be up to the legislature if that's something you'd want to do. You'd have to go back to the county that they came from.
Yeah.
I don't know how that would work. But, yeah, it's
We got
kind of.
white people here, I'm sure we could figure it out.
Well, it's kind of unfair when you think about it, because a level 1 trauma center, they're flown in from all over. Once they die in Albany Med, they become the county's case. We have to do the autopsy to determine what happened to these people.
Does Albany Med profit from them coming here?
You mean well, they do the services of, you
Are
know,
they getting paid?
are they getting paid for what?
The services?
Oh, sure.
Sure,
Right.
oh yeah, the insurance, yeah, when you fly into the helicopter,
Yeah.
the insurance pays a portion of the helicopter, you know, they go into the ER, whatever's done is covered under their insurance.
So we should look at doing something, arrangement with Albany Med somehow.
Right
Try to
now,
get them.
right now, Albany Med isn't paying, or CDPHP is not paying Albany Med the 50 million in the hole.
Well, that's because CDP, HP made a bad management decision when they bought community care. And they overextended themselves.
Actually, it's because of increases to
Medicaid.
Medicare and Medicaid.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what they're telling.
Let-
Anyway,
okay.
I mean, I can get those figures for you, it might be worth looking at.
we should look at it.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of unfair because a level 1 trauma center attracts
I mean, it helps
people who could
everybody,
be
there's no
flown by
question about it.
helicopter.
But we're talking some serious money now,
Well, absolutely.
you know?
You know what I think we should do here? I think that it's not gonna change what we're gonna do tonight.
No, we're
No.
And so, but it does apparently warrant, you know, some type of discussion later. And I think that that's something that really should take place, okay? So any documentation that you could get that might add to the conversation, so it would be clear to us actually what is going on, that would really help.
I could tell you one thing that we do bill for. We do bill back to Department of Corrections. Every inmate that dies at Albany Med, because they're all brought to Albany Med to have a contract with corrections, by law, every inmate that dies must have an autopsy. It's a law. But we bill back that to corrections. So we are getting some money back by billing back to corrections. But every inmate has to have one regardless, even if we know what the death is. It's a law.
All right, so again, that would be something that would be added to the report and that we really should have a discussion on. So I appreciate your candor and, you know, the information that you provided tonight, but it's time for a motion.
Motion to move.
We got a motion from Ms. Malowitz, I got a second from Mr. Reedy. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Unanimous.
Item 4 is an additional item that was just added. It's related to Board of Elections chargeback certification. You've all gotten a copy of it.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So, the Board of Elections is seeking approval of the chargeback certification costs associated with the 2023 primary and general elections. This means local municipalities, as we do every year, will be billed for their share of election costs. We always do it for the year prior to the existing election cycle, as we are required to under the law. And for 2023, our totals are $545,774 estimated that we will be charging back to local municipalities. This is consistent with previous years, give or take a few thousand, depending on number of poll inspectors that are trained, depending on number of poll sites that we use and early voting sites. But this is in line with previous years, other than years where we've had 3 elections. In 2023, we've only had 2. These are the final figures that we would like to bill back to local municipalities.
Okay, thank you. No, I got a question.
I have a question as well.
Okay, okay. Well, I'm gonna go first.
I just didn't want
Okay.
anybody making a motion and seconding it.
Oh,
There
okay.
you go.
I know, this year's is a little different from last year, in that this year, now people can go to any, polling site, or the ones that were listed to vote.
For early voting, you can.
For early, I'm talking about early voting, yes,
Yes.
clarify that. Now, there's one question that I had,
Mhm.
okay, on the sheet here.
Sure.
Okay, the second column says election day staff, and it also lists inspectors,
Mhm.
okay?
Yeah.
And then in the third column from the end, it says early voting inspectors.
Yes.
Explain who early voting inspectors are.
So the inspectors that we hire for early voting work for 9 straight days, and they're paid at a different rate than for election day inspectors. Now, the reason we.
Wait, okay. I'm sorry, I didn't finish the end of my question.
Sure, sorry.
Okay. And, because I understand what you just said. Now, I want, specifically for the city of Albany.
Yes.
Okay, the city of Albany has how many early voting sites?
So the city of Albany has the Board of Elections.
That's correct. And so my question is that, this 47,000, is that a separate cost? And
Ye-
and what does it represent?
Okay, so the way we calculate early voting inspector costs and the way we calculate election day inspector costs are different. So early voting inspectors the cost is calculated, I should say, based on number of voters per municipality that are eligible to vote during the early voting period. And the reason we do that is because voters in the county can vote anywhere in the county.
But they
So-
didn't let's go back to last year when they didn't.
No, so they have been able to since 2020.
Oh, that's, oh.
Yes.
Okay, now.
Yeah, that was changed in 2020. So
That was changed
you
in
are
2020,
correct. In the very first election where we had early voting, I think it was like GE 2019, we had it based on municipalities, but then we changed it immediately in 2020 so that anyone in the county can vote anywhere at any early voting site in the county.
Since 2020.
Yeah, so you can actually vote at Bern since
Okay.
2020.
All right, so now, again, we're talking about the city of Albany, specifically the city of Albany
Yes.
and the Board of Elections. Who is considered an inspector?
Anyone who
Or-
works.
Are you gonna clarify that for me?
Yes, so an election day inspector is any
No,
inspector for the
early
city of
voting.
Albany.
Early voting.
So your question is who can work?
My question is on that column that says early voting inspector.
Yes,
Okay.
so that is the cost of your municipality's share for the total cost of early voting inspectors countywide. And that calculation was made based on voter enrollment. Whereas election day inspectors, the cost, which is why it's in a separate column, the cost is charged back to the municipality for the municipality that they worked in. So for example, for the second column, the only inspectors in that column that Albany paid for are inspectors who worked at poll sites in the city of Albany. And that's it. You don't pay for Bethlehem's inspectors for election
Right,
day, so
right.
forth and so on.
Okay.
And early voting inspectors, that's divvied up countywide based on voting population. The cost of it, I should say.
So it matters not, so we're, okay, so why do you use the term inspectors? If, I'm
That's-
only confused about, I'm sorry, I'm a little thick
Yeah.
on this right now.
No, that's okay, it's fair enough,
Okay.
because that's what election law uses, that's the terminology election law uses.
So
They're
we-
called election inspectors, meaning those are the two Republicans and two Democrats assigned to each table. Whereas for early voting, we usually do 8 per site, so it's 4 Republicans, 4 Democrats.
And even though, this is what my question is. We're using, this is a question.
Sure.
Are we specifically using Albany County Board of Elections employees on the early voting days as inspectors?
It depends, this year we didn't.
You said we didn't?
This year we didn't
But
as
we
much.
hired somebody?
Yeah, yeah, actually we did, to work at the board, because it's a massive operation, and sometimes we have to deploy staff throughout the county to triage a variety of issues. A long line somewhere, why is there a long line? Because the printer is down. So we have to be able to send our staff out everywhere. So you have to imagine this, like, in an election year where you have almost 80% turnout, right, or give or take, okay? Versus an election year where you have 40% turnout. We don't increase our staff at the board regardless, right? So suddenly you have a major uptick in voting population and turnout. We have to be able to deal with the exponential growth of the operation for one day, and we do it without increasing the number of Board of Election staffers. So prior to a presidential election year, for example, I usually don't come to you and say, hey, we need to add 4 more positions to the board staff. We do it with the existing staff nonetheless. So there are years where we supplement that by hiring inspectors to work at our office instead of using
How
our
long
staff.
have we been doing early voting now, Rachel?
That's since 2019, GE 2019.
2019.
Yeah.
So 2020, you said we started, everybody, anybody
Yes.
can go anywhere to vote. Okay, so in 2023, we hired people to vote, we
No.
hired people as
No.
inspectors?
No, because we had like a lower turnout, yeah,
And so then this formula that you use,
yes.
even though there were no inspectors,
No, there were no, the Board of Election staff, that's maybe 4 people. When I say inspectors, I'm talking about countywide, serving at all poll sites.
and so we're paying, in 2023, I just want to understand this,
Yes,
Albany is split up a charge and is responsible for a cost
for early voting
for early
inspectors.
voting, even though it's held at the Board of Elections.
Yes. Because Albany voters can vote anywhere in the county. So we have poll sites in Colony, in Bethlehem, and in Bern that receive Albany voters.
Okay, so now, do you actually use the number of people that you know went someplace from the city of Albany and voted?
I'd have to be able to look at it. I can pull it up.
I'm really very much interested in
You're curious
that
to see
and-
who
and-
votes where?
And why people from Albany,
Yeah.
how many people from Albany went and voted in Bern?
I
Yeah.
have seen people, Albany's huge geographically, right? So a lot of people do utilize the Board of Elections, however, you have people in the upper wards that go to the North Bethlehem Firehouse, which is right near like Ward 15.
Okay,
And it's centered between Bethlehem, New Scotland,
okay.
Gilliland, and Albany. Then we've had Albany voters that I've seen, because I reviewed the list, that have used the Colony Village Recreation Center. They go sightseeing in Bern, they use Bern. So people go shopping, Wolf Road, they use the Colony sites. There's no rhyme or reason for why they do it, they
Right.
just do.
Okay, I really would like to know what those numbers are.
Yeah,
based
it's
upon-
interesting.
Okay,
Yeah.
Mr. Reedy.
Just a small question, I guess, or point. If we did the chargeback on this as a proportion of, like, the amount of people that voted by municipality, wouldn't you?
Versus enrollment, you mean?
Versus enrollment, wouldn't we effectively punish municipalities that had a higher turnout of voters?
Yes.
So I don't,
It's,
mistake.
listen, it's,
I don't,
Just the observation.
yeah,
but, you know, what do you want me to say to that? We try to make it come up with the formula that's as fair as
Who
possible, you
comes
know
up
what I
with
mean?
that formula?
Good question, no one. So it was something that over time in our discussions at these sessions, where, sometimes, we go into it, and I think over time, we've just decided the most fair way to deal with this is early voting, equally distributed, because anyone could vote anywhere in the county. Election day costs, direct association with municipality.
Mr. Bergdorf, I see your hand up.
Yeah, this is probably tangential to this, but I always, obviously, I look at Colony, and we got 59,000 voters, and our election day costs are 49, not including the moving and mileage and poll sites. But then I look at Albany,
Yes,
has less voters than us,
yes.
but 94,000. Is that because of the size of the election district
Yes,
and the amount?
yes.
So Albany, but who decides how many EDs there are in Albany?
Who decides? It's a give and take, I think.
Commissioners do.
I deferred more, let's put it this way, okay? So Kathy had received, I can't speak on her behalf, she's not here. So it's difficult for me to say, other than what feedback I received from her in my conversations with her. But in her conversations with people, it was based on, well, maybe what ward leaders had said to her. But putting that aside,
That's not
okay?
true.
No,
That's
okay,
not
wait.
That's
yeah.
fine, but she's not, I
No,
can't,
but
I'm not
I
her.
still
right.
have questions
So
on
I'll
the
give you
table
a
here.
basic
Okay, but,
example, like,
Wait, now, she just said
Yeah,
something
yeah.
that, is a highly volatile
yeah,
statement as far as, Albany, city of Albany is concerned. Well, for, maybe not just the city of Albany, but, other
but
places.
why their costs are double. So I'll give you an
Okay.
example, the city of Albany has 89 election districts. The town of Colony only has 43, okay? I worked on it with people in our own party as to what they felt was the best way to do this, combined with what was beneficial to our operation. Our operation wasn't positively impacted by having additional election districts. If anything, it increased the cost for local municipalities, because then you have to assign inspectors to each one of these municipalities. Plus, the city of Albany, for example, chooses to have additional poll sites, right? Because arguably they're more walkable communities, right? So the city of Albany, for example, has 31 poll sites. Town of Colony, though geographically larger, has 22 poll sites. In one community, they drive more, in another community, they walk more.
So
There's no
somebody-
clear formula.
So, but if a municipality is expressing an interest for more poll sites, they're gonna have to pay more.
They're gonna have to pay more,
'Cause
period, end of
that's,
story.
that's what these numbers
Right,
seem to indicate.
correct. I mean, in terms of election districts, that's really something that translates more to the benefit of a political party and their apparatus, operationally, right? Because you have to assign committee members.
Oh, stop right there. Okay, you just made another statement, okay? As far as a political operation, so forth and so on. People have different reasons why they wanted those, polling places, okay?
Poll sites or election districts,
Oh, I'm talking poll sites, I guess you could say election district two.
election districts,
Okay,
yeah.
but it all narrows down to mean the same thing, okay,
Sure.
for me, okay? And so, that's something that, today we're not gonna fix that, and we're not gonna, I don't wanna talk about it anymore, because it really is a heated discussion as far as, the two parties are concerned. So, I'm making a
Make a
call.
motion.
I have a question,
from here.
Madam
Second.
I have a question, yeah. Question, yeah,
On what?
just on this inspectors.
On the inspectors?
Yeah, different topic than you're saying, but my understanding is there should be a Democrat and a Republican inspector equal, one, all the way across the board.
Correct, ideally.
Are there enough Republican inspectors in the city of Albany so that that ratio remains the same?
We had a waiting list for the past several years on the Republican side,
In the city of Albany?
in countywide, including the city of Albany.
Oh, but they may live in Colony, but you push them in, you push them
I
into
don't
Albany.
care, yes,
Okay.
and just so you know,
Mistake, right?
Huh?
You can live anywhere in the state, so what it is.
No, you have to be a resident of Albany County. You're talking about being a poll watcher. If you're a lawyer, you can serve anywhere in the state. that
Or
type of stuff.
signing a petition.
Yeah,
or
Right, witnessing a
petition.
petition, you could be anywhere in the state as long as you're enrolled in the party.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Mr. Guerrero.
Second,
Okay, so I got a motion from Mr. Reedy, I got a second from Mr. Mullins. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous, thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Make a motion to adjourn?
second.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Crummy, we're not
Thank you,
too
Rachel.
happy. 164,000. Oh, no, that's Albany.
Grumpy, you want two. One North County, one South County.
Probably voted second.
Jojo.
Well,